All right, happy Tuesday night, everybody. Welcome on into the daily broadcast. Coming to you from Raiderland World Headquarters. Everybody getting in on the United Supermarkets at Market Street chat line, the supermarket that supports Texas Tech in West Texas, as opposed to some supermarkets out here that take your money and send it down south and put it on a scoreboard where you might not want to see that. All right, it is June 17th. When this date happened in 1994, we didn't know it was like going to be one of the most crazy, wild, amazing days in American sports history. Today, looking back, it is, and we're going to talk about it tonight. The perspective that we had, that I had, the perspective that you had, and even if you're a young buck, maybe you weren't even around, why it matters in the American sports history landscape. Anything else on your mind? Hey, jump in on the United Supermarkets chat line. Fire away your questions and comments. If you are with us on Facebook, that's right, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on Facebook. You can give us thumbs up, just like James is doing. If you're with us on our YouTube channel, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland, free, don't cost nothing. You can share, give thumbs up, invite people in. Look at that right there. On cue, Lynn is on our YouTube channel. He's giving thumbs up. He's inviting people in. And then on Twitter, at Ryan Hyatt Media on Twitter. Hey, 7,300 people can't be wrong. So whatever's on your mind tonight, but we are going to talk about this day, this date, this seminal date in American sports history. And really, I think it got coalesced a few years ago when they had the ESPN 30 for 30 on it, which is so well done. It's so good. So let's have a conversation tonight. Let's visit whatever's on your mind. Thanks to United Supermarkets at Market Street. You guys can get in and fire away. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, theraiderland.com. You start your day there every day on the website. You know, one of our great sponsors, Ultra Exteriors. Now, we just had a wicked bad hailstorm, windstorm a couple of weeks ago. Here's the deal. Ultra Exteriors, roofs, check. Siding, check. Windows, check. You don't have to go to like 5 different people to get all this stuff done. Warren Taylor and Ultra Exteriors, one-stop shopping. Fantastic people. Check them out. Give our friend Warren a holler and tell him Raiderland sent you. Also by Golf USA, as we wrapped up watching JJ Spawn win the U.S. Open, United States Open. You know, British do the whole thing. Anyhow. You want to play better golf, go to 67th in Indiana. Geez, now, a generation almost plus for Golf USA, working with us on the old Williams and Hyatt show and here on this site. It's amazing stuff. Doesn't get any better than that. All right. Where do you want to start tonight? Where do you want to start? And I'll pose this question. Where were you, and I'll tell you where I was, where were you on this day, June 17, 1994? The day that saw the O.J. Simpson white Bronco chase. Al Cowling driving, O.J. in the back, on the phone, probably a bag phone. Knicks, Rockets, NBA Finals. Arnold Palmer playing his last round at the United States Open ever at Oakmont, where we played this weekend. By the way, he birdied 17. Oh, and the World Cup was in town. And in Chicago, it was Oprah and Bill Clinton welcoming the world in the World Cup. Meanwhile, in New York City earlier in the day, the New York Rangers celebrating their Stanley Cup victory. And it would be a while. Now, I was a younger man, and we were just launching the Williams and Hyatt show. In fact, at that time, it wasn't called the Williams and Hyatt show. It was called Sports Talk with Don Williams and Ryan Hyatt on KFYO 790 AM. What an awkward, odd, long name for a show. It was a Friday. It was hotter than hell in Lubbock. It was the third Friday of the Williams and Hyatt show ever. The first Friday we did a remote at United Supermarkets. Bob Bockrath, Tech AD, came out. We were there on 4th and University at the United Supermarkets. That was the first Friday. The second Friday in studio. The third Friday was today, June 17, 1994. And when we signed off, all hell had not broken loose. When we signed off the show at 7 o'clock that night, basketball game about to get underway. The NBA on NBC. Merv Albert, yes! Tom Brokaw. All of it hadn't broken. Arnold Palmer had played his last round. We were giving the World Cup its due, but neither Don nor me or anybody else in West Texas was really hardcore World Cup. And we probably made mention of the Rangers and the celebration in New York City. And then about 7:30 or 8 o'clock our time, all hell breaks loose on the O.J. Simpson front. Where were you? Do you remember where you were? And if you were young, that's okay. I get it. If you don't remember, but if you've seen the 30 for 30, I'm telling you right now, we didn't realize in real time that day what that day really meant in the totality of the American sports landscape. And I should say again, if you're just getting into the show and you want to talk about Texas Tech football or basketball or baseball or anything else, softball, knock yourself out, fire away. But tonight, the day that has become one of the weirdest, wildest, most improbable days in American sports landscape history, I want to know your thoughts, where you were, what you were doing. I'll tell you some more here in a minute and how that even played out. James is on Facebook. Right, it's Raiderland on Facebook. You know, I'll oh, I'm getting a text message. I don't know if I can reveal this or not. Yeah, I probably will here in a second. From the co-host of the show that day. Oregon State left too many ducks on the pond, and it cost them their season. Talking about the College World Series. Oregon State, a very trendy, popular pick to get it done. They played an independent schedule this year. Not surprised that they're exiting. Meanwhile, Chris, Facebook. Right now, it's Raiderland on Facebook. It was a busy Friday for me. We had Vacation Bible School, band camp. I saw that at first as bond camp. That would be totally different. Yeah, we got junk bonds. We got AAA bonds. Welcome to bond camp. All of you aspiring bond traders and swim team that day got home just in time to watch the Bronco chase. I assume, Chris, that you're saying that was you. Not as a kid. Maybe were you a kid? Were you a kid that day or an adult? I'm not trying to be funny here. Maybe you were a kid that day. Lynn. I was at the DFW International Airport Admirals Club returning from Guadalajara, Mexico. And I think they said it best. I really do. Guadalajara won't do. Steely Dan. No. Guadalajara won't do. June 17, 1994. What do you remember? Where were you? Chris on Facebook. Right now, it's Raiderland. Hopefully, Chris, he's already hit like. He should hit shared. He's invited people in. We're so close to 500 on YouTube. Good Lord, when we hit 500 on YouTube, watch out. The algorithm, awesome. Again, I say to people who like to watch us on Twitter or on Facebook, just go over there, like it, subscribe, and you can watch wherever. I was in boot camp. We locked in our barracks when the chief came over. Dang it, hard for me to say that. One MC and said, "Listen up, you morons. O.J. Simpson killed his wife and is on the run for the police in a white Bronco." All right. That sounds like a fun night. First date, June 17, 1994, and you remember a first date? Wow, that's impressive. Obviously not with me. I didn't think you were old enough to have a radio show in 1994. I had a radio show in 1990 and 89 and yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's what I was saying. Chris says, "Yeah, I was 11." So you weren't hosting the VBS. You weren't doing all that. You were actually at it. Okay, thanks for making me feel good. Don Williams, the Williams Tonight Show that night, third Friday, gives us a little perspective on the super secret text line. I'll read that in a second. It was a few years later before I got into the Williams and Hyatt show, says Stacy. I was working in Louisiana for my grandfather and was mad they were covering that BS instead of the basketball game. So NBC that night had to go back and forth between the Knicks and the Rockets. See, this is when Michael Jordan was on suspension for gambling and had to take 2 years off. So that allowed Keem Olajuwon, Dream Shake, Gene Peterson on the call for Houston KTRH and allowed the Rockets to win 2 championships. But that's neither here nor there. So NBC is going back and forth. And I'll get into more where I was that night watching it and how I remember it playing out at that point here in a few minutes. I'm more intrigued with you guys. Where were you? What are your recollections of that night, that day? How many of you were paying attention to Arnold Palmer? We were. U.S. Open Friday. This was a Friday for those who don't know. So Arnold Palmer plays his final competitive round at the United States Open, shoots an 81. He birdies 17. They played at Oakmont, where J.J. Spaun just won. And that was the story of the day. We also had the whole World Cup thing going on, and it was Oprah and Bill Clinton in Chicago. What could go wrong? That sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, right? So Oprah and Bill Clinton walk into a stadium in Chicago. And then the main thing Don Williams remembers is the Rangers had their parade for winning the Stanley Cup. James, I was 14 at my grandparents' house by Lake Proctor near Comanche watching the OJ chase. Meanwhile, JC on YouTube, my buddy from Tech, I had barely moved into a new, huge apartment in the Village in Dallas, hooked up TV and found the chase. Wow. And that was when you actually hooked up the TV. I don't know if you hooked it into a cable or you just hooked it up and it had the rabbit ears or whatever. Robert Delgado, I was going to Tech. Obviously living in Lubbock, so going to Tech in 94. Young buck, still in school, going to Tech. Welcome into the daily broadcast brought to you by Ultra Exteriors. If you need a new roof, if you need siding done after the hailstorm, window treatments, anything along those lines, they're your one-stop shop. Call Warren Taylor at Ultra Exteriors. Tell them we sent you. Also by Golf USA, 67th in Indiana, and everybody getting in on the United Supermarkets chat line. If you're having fun tonight on the show, I ask that you share this with your friends, no matter what platform you're on. Subscribe to all of our platforms. They're always free, always will be, from Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland on YouTube to Facebook Live, and then on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media. Thanks to being out there. We're talking about June 17, 1994, the OJ chase. Where were you? What were you doing? It was the third Friday of the historic Williams and Hyatt show. Unbelievable. Unbelievable it was the third Friday. And by the way, this would set in motion something that we mirrored that summer along with David Letterman. And I don't know that we ever sat down and me and Don Williams just had a long talk about covering the O.J. Simpson saga, trial and everything. I think it was organic. I think we were just simpatico and just kind of in the same deal. But Jay Leno blew up the coverage on The Tonight Show on NBC. On CBS, David Letterman had the famous line, "I don't know, I've just never really found double homicide all that funny." And he never touched it. And we never, I guess I shouldn't say never, but we left the O.J. Simpson saga to the news side. It wasn't a driving force of our first summer on the air. It wasn't anything that I think Don and I looked at and said, yeah, this is what we want to spend. We only had an hour and a half back then. We went from an hour and a half in 1994 summer on KFYO 790 AM from 5:30 to 7 to when we finished up the show 4 hours from 3 to 7 every day. By the way, that's too long to have a show in Lubbock, Texas, now, then, or any other time. But yeah, it was an overarching deal for us that summer in that OJ deal that we focused on sports. We didn't get into it. Wasn't our thing. Now, I mentioned off the super secret text line, Don Williams did chime in, which means he is paying attention a little bit. On the day of the AC and OJ White Bronco chase, Don Williams, 29 years old. Ryan Hyatt, 24 years old. Kids born that day are now 31 years old. Well, thanks for bringing out the 31 part. But yeah, we were kids, both in our 20s, me and Don, 24 and 29. I was 24 when the Williams and Hyatt show started. Didn't know what the hell we were doing. So where were you that day? What do you remember that day? Where does it rank all time on, is the word I'm looking for greatest days in sports in America, or weirdest or wildest, or just so many things coming together? And then if you want to talk about Texas Tech baseball or softball or football or any of the cool stuff Don Williams has written about in the Avalanche Journal about Baron Morton being healthy and, different stuff right now. Hey, it's that time of year. We are in midsummer for the next 60 days or so, really not that long, 30 plus another 50, 45 days, then August hits, and it's kind of real football stuff going on around the colleges and the NFL. So this is that time of year when we get into the cool, fun stuff. Meanwhile, back on the United Supermarkets chat line, I remember I heard about it after a show, maybe Ely at Liberty Lunch. So Tim was in Austin drinking a lot, and he went out that night in '94, and maybe Joe Ely played live at Liberty Lunch, which that's an old nightclub / music theater, So there you go. If only we could have 45 days of College World Series, man, I would be a fan. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Love it. Drama. Yesterday, by the way, so the kid who throws the no-hitter, Gage Wood for Arkansas yesterday. This morning they were already selling T-shirts. Picture of Gage celebrating the no-hitter, like he's throwing down his fist or whatever. And great T-shirt tagline, Nomaha, with the Arkansas logo and everything. Nomaha. That's really well done. And the kid gets a cut. That's fantastic. I love it. Doesn't get much better than that. I mean, I've seen some impressive outings in Omaha. I've watched Kumar Rocker pitch in Omaha, and nothing like what we saw yesterday. That's the way baseball go. Your chance to get in on the comments will go as long as you guys are interesting, entertaining, and fun. I hope you're sharing this with your friends out there on our YouTube channel, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Easy to do. Twitter, at Ryan Hyatt Media. At Ryan Hyatt Media. You got to have the old, when we did the Twitter handle, you had to have something, so it's at Ryan Hyatt Media. And then our Facebook page, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. We add a lot of different depth and layers and put on a lot of cool stuff there on that Facebook page. Hopefully you guys are a part of it. If you're not, I get it. If you're not on Facebook, I understand. There are people that just don't like Facebook, but I'm telling you, if for no other reason, just get on for our page, and you're going to see some cool stuff. Different things our sponsors do, our clients, and we have different questions and comments, and you never know what you're going to see out there. So check it out at Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. We were talking about June 17, 1994. Where were you? The Chase, the White Bronco, the Knicks, the Rockets, Bob Costas, who was your host that night on NBC, not play-by-play. That was yes, Merv Albert. But Bob Costas, your host, going back and forth between Tom Brokaw on NBC News and Tom Brokaw. And then everything else that had transpired during the day. What do you remember? Anything else? You know? Robert Ford got some free advertising that night. By the way, I lived in the old tech ghetto. So he was off there just on the north side of University, Robert, during the night before they raised the tech ghetto, everything else. Arkansas pitcher against any healthy? Omaha. Listen, Omaha State, better than Kansas City. I'll give you that much. James, I will watch the CWS game before any event when it's June, baseball or softball. Agreed on that. All right, so June 17, 1994, we wrap up the Williams and Hyatt show at 7 o'clock. What we did back then, after the show was over, I would record a promo for the next day. So it was going to be a weekend promo. And I can't remember if we did a Saturday, Sunday promo with Michael Stevens and James D. Faust, and then a Monday promo or just one. Doesn't matter. So it takes about 5 minutes or so to get that taken care of. Then a lot of nights early on in the show, me and Don and Michael Stevens and James D. Faust and whoever's up there, we go out back at KFWO. These are the studios on South Slide Road, just a little bit past 1585 back in the day, out in the middle of nowhere back then. And we'd shoot hoops. I don't remember doing it that night. Now, what I do remember that Friday night, we went to one of two places and met up with some friends. And it was either at Lone Star on Slide, which was a frequent haunt back in the days, or Mama Rita's on Slide Road in South Loop 289. We ended up one of those two places. I can almost guarantee you that's where we were. And the game is on probably at that point. You know, by now it's 8 o'clock. So the game's probably on, you know? And at that point, I don't remember seeing anything about the chase with OJ. Now, all the other stuff had gone on during the day. So we retire from there, and this is where, and I don't know that Don Williams is still watching. I don't know if he went. I know another friend of ours went over to a common friend of ours named Kent Best, and we went to his house, and we were going to watch the game, and we were also putting together the beginning phases of a basketball preview magazine that was going to come out that year called Southwest Basketball that covered the Southwest Conference, and we were working on that. I was the managing editor of a basketball magazine, regional statewide distribution. It was kind of a big deal. Anyhow, so we're going to go over there, work on a couple of things on that and watch the game. And then that's when all hell breaks loose on the OJ chase and everything else. They're going back and forth. Now, I can't remember my emotions in real time regarding, hey, is OJ going to kill himself? What's going to happen? But I do remember the guy who was so again, 1994. Somehow, some guy gets a hold of the local NBC affiliate, I believe the NBC affiliate in LA, gets their number, calls in, says he's right there. I'm a neighbor. I'm right here next to all this stuff. I'm watching it out my window. And then he drops the Baba Louie, which was the Howard Stern code phrase, catchphrase, whatever at the time. So somebody absolutely pranks NBC News real time while all this is going on. You could do it back then. Caller ID, infancy, all that stuff. And that's one of the things I do remember in watching that at Kent Best's house that night was the guy getting in while they're still going back and forth. This is when they get to the house. They've made it to the house. It's dark in LA. It's dark in Lubbock, Texas. And the guy getting in going, Bobby Louie. Unbelievable. And of course, by the time we get out of there, uh, he's OJ's walked out. Al Callings is still alive, but there was no way to know that night in 1994 that day that all of the events that intertwined together would somehow make something that we had never heard of called a 30 for 30 or a documentary that you just went through a day when you woke up on Friday morning and the Rangers are having their parade in New York. You got the World Cup in the United States, and they would play games at the Cotton Bowl, by the way. And for those who don't remember, and then we had the U.S. Open. We knew that this was it for Arnold Palmer. He wasn't going to make the cut, and he, has his moment, and he has his wave and everything else. And then, of course, the Rockets in the finals. That was what was really on our show driving the first probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks of our original Williams and Hyatt show was the Rockets being in the finals. The Rangers were good that year, but it would be later on that summer when we'd realize, hey, they got a chance to they could win the division and make the playoffs for the first time. And we're going to shut it down on August 11th, and we're not going to have a postseason in 1994. So that early day in June, we had no idea 3 weeks into the Williams and Hyatt show that we would ever be talking about it on Thursday, June 17, 2026, 31 years later. But here we are. Fascinating. And again, if you weren't around, if you were too young, the 30 for 30 does a good job encapsulating the minute by minute, hour by hour aspect of that day. And it does it in a manner with the footage how we saw it, not dressed up like cool footage today, but like crappy TV footage back in 1994, which we thought was pretty good. The steakhouse downtown in Omaha, not Gallagher's. I don't think it's Gallagher's. The Drover is the best one. Might be Gallagher's. I know we have eaten, me and Collier and a couple of other guys ate at one downtown in 2014, the first year Tech was there, and we ate next to Skip Bertram and the whole LSU crew, Warren Morris, a lot of different guys there. Might be Gallagher's. It was good. Drover's better. Drover's the best one. No, Maha. Oh, Maha. Sunny Maha. Oh, going back to the no Maha. No Maha. Yeah, I get it. Took a while to get there, but I get it now. It's a long way to go to get the Maha joke in there, but I appreciate the effort. All right, last chance. Thoughts, comments, questions. Tomorrow, What If Wednesday, Alt History. We'll get more Texas Tech and Big 12 stuff. There are some people saying, oh my gosh, with the House settlement, Big 12 Big 12 schools are going to cut sports. No, they're not. Nothing changes on the fundamentals on being able to have sports. Now, how much you spend on those sports, yeah, you're still going to have the sports. Baseball ain't going anywhere. None of that stuff's going to happen. Don't worry about it. All right. That's overreaction. Gallagher sounds right. Let's go with Gallagher's. I'm sure it's pretty good. All right, you guys are the best. We're going to archive this on the website, theraiderland.com. We're going to have it out there for you on our YouTube channel, Ryan Knight's Raiderland. If you're watching the replay and you want to do something for us tonight, please subscribe to all of our channels. Don't cost nothing for Facebook, YouTube, and everything else. We have enjoyed every minute of this. We enjoy everything we do. We want to thank our great sponsors, United Supermarkets on the chat line, Ultra Exteriors, Roof. Yeah, check that. Bathroom remodel. Yeah, they can do that while they're fixing your roof and your siding and your windows and all that sort of stuff. Don't pay 3 or 4 or 5 different people to come out and get it done. Just get one person to do it. Warren Taylor at Ultra Exteriors. And then Golf USA, our man Stacy Nicks. He's awesome. You guys are the best. See you tomorrow. TheRaiderland.com.